cat is in, born under the TIVV3 star sign. Today, looking at Yaro Shien, commenting on Rev Says Desu. Maybe Rev Says Desu should shut up is the title of the video. Nice flame bait there, looking like he's trying to get a piece of these trending words and so on, which in part I'm doing that too. The other part is, hear me out here. My ultimate point is actually that I think people should do something better with their lives. It would be nice if you also spread the good word about people should like go the fuck away from this drama nonsense and instead go organize. Anyway, let's listen to this Yaro Shien, what he's saying. And warning, because if he wants brownie points from me for being a good guy or something, because I don't give these, I don't give credit. Sorry, Link. Maybe come back when you're a little richer.
Here's a video. This is a YouTube video about a YouTube video, which is a great start.
Yes,
but actually,
I love it, because that's how you make the content on YouTube.
it gets better. It's a YouTube video about a Twitter post. Even better, that the Twitter post was inspired by a YouTube video, or more precisely, 3 of them.
Yes.
As well as, I acknowledge that I am merely at the ass end of a human centipede of discourse. Vampire girl VTuber with glasses who probably is...
Wait, elf vampire? Whoa, I didn't know that. I thought they're just a girl. That's interesting. I'm a cat girl. I keep it simple, I guess.
Does not actually talk about anime or anything of substance, really. Instead, he makes videos, often 3 a day, about pointless drama on Twitter. Interactive mills are like, haha, what kind of Pokemon are you? Or last 4 digits of your social security number. Not the, hey, here's a girl who is on the internet being wrong. Throw slurs at her until she never says anything again. Now, there has been...
What is he talking about? I love substantiations. Let's go.
About who should be cast in anime, which, you know, matters so fucking much.
True, it doesn't. So why are you talking about it?
He talks about shit that doesn't matter while
If it doesn't matter, then what's the problem? Just let other people dictate what's gonna be the line, you know? Like, if you don't like what he's saying about who should get cast, and you say it doesn't matter, then this is not your battle, is it now?
Wall of angry anime fans. He obviously has a lot to say about it, and he's still talking about it. And
like, it's just bad, right? Like, if you say you don't care, and don't care. I mean, it's a bad look. It really is. And I say this with all my love. I did not expect to hear this line of argument. Like, you can't be like, oh, I'm concerned on behalf of the people who want the thing I say nobody should care about. Like, oh my god, this is the most concerned troll nonsense that helps nobody, and I feel very sorry for the people who feel emotionally invested in that.
And will for as long as the outrage doesn't get drained. So what is Rev saying? Let's take a look at this video. So the video starts with Rev warning his audience that he's going to be getting into some controversial material. He's doing it all without posting the Tangled meme image, and we all...
Maybe he cares.
No, he's...
I wouldn't expect that people don't care, you know? What I'm doing is I come at this from a perspective of actually people care about, like, petty little nonsense things, and it would be nice if people were better, you know? And maybe I can help. Right? So maybe Rev Says Desu actually cares about this. So let's see his angle. Okay, because it's fair for people to care unless you explain why maybe they shouldn't.
Just gonna rile up the anime community on Twitter.
So today we're gonna be talking about some pretty controversial topics, and to start off this video, I'm gonna have to give one of my hottest, most nuclear takes of all time, and you might want to strap in because you're gonna fall out of your seat when you hear this.
You see, I like when people talk like this because I can play off of it.
So what is Rev's hot box take that only people with smug Anya avatars are
what's gonna happen?
Intelligent enough to appreciate?
I'm so excited.
I don't think we should limit people to opportunities based on the color of their skin.
True. The crickets are like, yeah, true, we knew this already. Although, actually, have you heard of affirmative action?
Ooh! So, if you're
By the way, I'm not against affirmative action. Like, if you call it affirmative action and give everyone $1,000 a month, I think I would get behind that. And did you know the groups who are who are most behind actually benefit the most from universal programs? That's well studied as far as I'm aware, but feel free to look into this yourself. I mean, Guy Standing talks about it at least. He's an economist. He's been researching basic income for 30 years. Maybe he knows something. I don't know.
Just the person who might be wondering who would find this controversial take controversial, aside from Rev and his sister cousin Crystal.
why are you the expert on this now?
Brenda.
That has been a big conversation over the past couple of weeks.
And by the way, again, I like affirmative action. It should just work. I like merit. It's just, I wouldn't really build my argument on merit. It's generally a cope or some sort of deflection when it's used as an argument. I ultimately like it, but it's never going to be the highest ordering principle for me.
In the voice
that would be something more egalitarian, in fact.
Acting community, because there is a push narrative of authentic casting.
Authentic casting!
I mean, if it's better, sure.
What kind of sinister conspiracy are those anime voice
I like this reaction there.
Pushing on us?
That's fair.
Which means that voice actors should only voice characters that match the color of their skin.
Okay, so if that's what it is, then that's of course bollocks. Nahida, in Genshin, English voice actress, is like brownish skin tone. She sounds amazing in that role. Like...
I see. Thank you for breaking it down so simply.
So we don't want representation when it comes to voicing characters, but we do want something authentic, I guess, which means a white person voices black character, a black person voices white character, if it fits. If it's authentic to the vision of the character, right? So, but see, this is the question. Now, let's see if he's aware.
Even a slimy, smooth brain like me can understand. Rev goes on to explain how there have been controversies with famous Twitter personality ProZD not being able to read for non-Asian characters and the casting, recasting, and re-recasting of Yorichi in Blood 1,000-Year Race Blood War. Shit! So, after throwing out a few phrases like diversity hire, Rev's main argument comes down...
Which, by the way, there are open questions there. It is a sign of weakness if you can't even have a conversation.
...you reap what you sow. That is, minority voice...
It's either there's an agenda or you actually have a weak position. And so, why is that? I think liberalism has all kinds of amazing things to offer. It should never find itself in such a weak position that it cannot discuss controversy.
Actors who advocated for the equality in opportunities are being proven how wrong they are for doing that. And they are rightfully being punished for the crime of being wrong on Twitter and pushing an agenda, or as Rev calls it, the narrative of authentic casting. No, he doesn't define what this means because, let's be honest, people like him don't. Instead, he...
I do like when people define their terms. That's true. Now, I'm not gonna die on a hill of pointing out how people are lazy with how they define their terms. Because you know what they say? Where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'll grant like 10% of the time that's not true, but maybe the other 90%.
Goffs at the idea that it can improve performances and waits for his audience to clap like seals. But I think the deeper issue is that Rev doesn't actually know what authentic casting means and is therefore scary. He could also...
Now that could be a thing. Well, let's see what he says about authentic casting. I'm curious.
Know what it means and is actively portraying it as something that is sinister without ever going into the literal definition nor context behind it.
Textbook definitions are actually not very durable. Words change their meaning, sometimes big, sometimes small, sometimes they reverse in meaning. The classical economists, they were dividing between at least profit and rents, economic rents, like because you have a monopoly. And the neoclassical economists, they just like, they'd be like, well, whatever you can keep, that's your profit. There's a big difference. It's an intellectually, philosophically big difference. It changes what you look for in your analysis of the economy.
Something Rev, Hirohei, Yellow Flash all do. Instead, they waste time performing Japanese because they really need that.
Anyway, just saying, words aren't so simple that you can just look them up in the dictionary. So again, I do like that this guy's pointing out Rev should give his definitions. What is he talking about? What does it mean to him? That's what matters to me. Right? I don't care about what it says in the dictionary. I mean, I want to know what it means to him. And then I also want to know what it means to Yaro Shien.
Time, more on that later. In the meantime, I'll do it for them.
Nice,
so
let's go.
Let me lay it down for you. Authentic casting is the idea of casting directors should at least try to cast people who represent the race, sexuality, gender, or whatever the character they are casting for.
But why should they do that? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound merit-based. That doesn't sound authentic.
There are two main reasons for casting authentically. First of all,
maybe that's the term that's... See, this is what words mean. So anyway, let's see what are the benefits for doing this.
Well, equity. Because Hollywood has historically been very white, very heteronormative, very neurotypical, and authentic casting gives a shot to
I'm not sure on the neurotypical side of things.
people who are not white, not sexually normative.
Like, how do you know they don't all have subclinical psychiatric issues? Like, how do you know that?
Disabled, neurodivergent. More people get a piece of the pie. And shockingly,
Okay, we're talking about the quality of the product, right?
people are against this for some reason. Because, come on, if we never
I want a good product.
cast for weird little freaks, how would Rev ever get work? And number two, because an authentic cast does a better job acting.
Now that's the argument. Let's see. Now we're coming to the beef. I want a good product. That's the only priority as a customer I have, right? Like, it's not like I'm the man, you know? I'm not the man. Anyway.
Take John Wayne playing Genghis Khan the Conqueror. Not only does John Wayne's cowboy persona clash with what might be a Mongol chieftain, he also looks pretty fucking stupid. No one buys it. He looks like he's pretty out of place as a white lead would be in a Tyler Perry film.
Sometimes, when you make a movie that's supposed to be entertaining, that's about history, it probably won't be much at all like what actually happened, so... You know, I think it's cute he's like dressed up like that as a white man. It's a tall white man wearing these outfits that people were wearing who were a lot smaller. That's the first thing I'm thinking about. At that time,
casting is a big deal in live action for obvious reasons. It's also relevant.
Obvious? Is it? No, it's not. It really isn't.
In Western animation because characters are developed with a particular background in mind. No one wants to hear Scarlett Johansson doing an accent that'll get her kicked out of Panda Express.
Anime voice acting is extremely different from faithful to live voice acting. Japanese live action has the same issue going on. It's clownish, it's over the top, but that's part of what makes it good. The Western style, it's trying to go for more realism, which is also good in a way. It's different though. These arguments are very white man central, very realism, very big realist. Like in terms of the looks at least. Maybe not on the map in terms of the geography.
Now, maybe in anime dubs, the authenticity is less of an issue because most anime characters are Japanese. And the point of an anime dub is to have English speakers play the role, many of whom...
The Japanese who voice the Japanese, who don't look like Japanese at all, in anime, they don't talk like normal Japanese people. They just don't. There are certain trade-offs to keep in mind.
Are not Japanese. There are some exceptions. The Netflix dub of A Silent Voice had a deaf actress, Lexi Marmon, play the deaf character.
Right? Like you would fail a lot of interviews for Hollywood roles, voice acting or talking like an anime character in English. You just like... It was so transparent to me when I was listening to some Genshin Impact voice acting. It's like, wow, she really talked like over the top. Nobody talks like this. Wow, this would never fly in a Western show.
Character Shoko Nishima. The Crunchymation dub of Tomo-chan is...
But it works because it's a fucking anime game.
The girl had Carol Olston's Japanese voice actor, Sally Amaki, reprise her role because Amaki is biracial, Japanese, and British. Both of these were brilliant casting decisions. Fans loved the performances, and
That's
Carol
good.
in particular is a fucking meme. Neither...
Oh, I loved her. I loved her in the Japanese dub. I don't know the English one.
Netflix or Crunchymation had to make these choices. The Japanese voice actor for Shoko is not deaf, but this was a rare opportunity for someone like Lexi Marmon to play a huge role in a theatrical film. There aren't a lot of deaf characters in media, period. There aren't many opportunities like this. Authentic casting made the most of the opportunity presented and hit it out of the park. Woof. But those are the exceptions.
Yeah, if it works, great.
And fine, anime isn't really racially diverse. You have dark-skinned and black-coated characters, but for the most part, they're all meant to be Japanese or racially ambiguous. The main argument in the anime sphere is equality is trying to make the talent pool more diverse, and that is an admirable goal in and of itself. But at that point...
I mean, you want the best product. There's been a problem with teachers being poorly paid, so... Maybe we should just pay teachers more and then they will be more diverse. The important point is paying teachers more so the product is better, the education of our children. And so the side effect of paying teachers more would be it's more diverse. Or maybe not. I don't care, actually, now that I think about it. The point is, pay teachers well, get great products.
We're not actually talking about the same thing. The controversies behind authentic casting have existed since Elvis was being accused of appropriating black music by playing rock and roll. Which he did do, but he never denied it. Determining where the line is with these issues.
I mean, everything's derivative on some level.
And some are going to not be optimal. Neither a YouTube video or a Twitter thread is going to solve it. God save us if we ever try to. Although that would be relevant if we were engaging in good faith. But Rev does not do that. He simplifies complex topics to such a degree that he doesn't have to think too hard about what he's actually arguing.
I would like to see this not exactly substantiated, because I can see that it's a fair thing to do, actually, to make a product that is true to your capacity to parse reality. Now, I would like people to be very capable of that, but I'm not going to hold it against Rev if his takes are biased one way or another. Everyone's biased one way or another. It's the job of the listener to avoid falling on their noses by listening to bias and not understanding it. Like, you will have the damage if you get roped into some narrative because you listen to somebody who don't know what they're talking about and you lack this capacity to tell like what this is actually meaning to you in your life and so on. So, you know, I would like to see, okay, so what are we gonna, like, what is the payoff here? Where are we going with this? What is the offense of Rev? What are his biases? What should you keep in mind when he's talking, etc., etc.? Like, you can work with this, right? If you, or you be like, okay, because of this, and this is not salvageable. Let's see, maybe it's gonna be like Rev's content is just not salvageable. For me, I think I understand enough about people to have a great time reacting to some of what Rev says. Also, this guy too is doing it, right? So it's like a platform for him. He gets the chance to speak because of Rev. Maybe a bit of gratitude would be appropriate here. So anyway, let's see how much good faith he has.
He is incapable of distinguishing between casting calls like ProZDs that were for Western animations, where diversity is represented on screen, and anime, where diversity only matters because diversity matters. Although, voice actors
I'm at the best product. And I'll sell for a pretty decent product. And so, let's see.
Do often do both. This is an important distinction, which flies over the head of the terminally online chuds who only watch anime.
What's the argument?
Which leads him to saying some thought-provokingly stupid shit like this.
And I don't understand how you can mock anime fans like this, because the people who don't support authentic casting are the majority of anime fans.
I don't know where he's getting this statistic from. I guess he did a poll at some point and asking on a scale of 1 to 10, how high is your IQ? And
I mean, it's not like this is any different from the study that your life expectancy is probably implicated from eating red meat, right? Like that study, that meta-analysis was a hot mess. So like, what are you talking about?
Extrapolated from there, but don't...
Like, yeah, we all want a veneer of the science on our side. Yeah, but so you gotta go deeper. If you don't like what he's saying, just be like, yeah, I think differently, and this is equally valid, by the way, because I understand how this game works. So anyway, let's see how much he dwells on it. Maybe he's gonna substantiate.
Don't worry, he's not just making baseless claims, he's also making fallacious ones.
True anime fans don't support this narrative. It's something that only the voice acting sphere seems to support.
Those guys don't get it. True anime fans don't want people to reflect on the appropriateness of casting. Only normie anime voice actors do.
People care about people getting paid for good work, especially if it's their own work. And when you think about it, actually you want to just be cheap and not pay at all for a great product. You want a great product, right? I mean, so at the end of the day, people got to organize, people want a good product and not pay for it. And they will say, oh yeah, the representation is so important. Yes. I don't know how or why. Like, why would it even matter? If you don't get paid and you get shit anyway in your daily experience, like, what's representation gonna do there? Hello? Besides, okay, broaden the talent pool, which by the way means more competition, which means cheaper prices.
Claims that people are acting in bad faith on Twitter, and chances are he actually is right, because Twitter is a cesspool when he actively swims in, mind you. But still, in particular, Rev singles out a couple of tweets from a voice actor friend of mine.
Self-congratulatory diversity panels, or whatever. That's also a cesspool. It's just presented in a language that appears calm and rational.
Rolling back the clock to November, Rev posted a video using this particular thumbnail and title featuring one of my friends there, Shakira. And you may notice a little bit of an issue here. It's obviously edited to incite anger among Rev's fans. However, it lacks a lot of context, so allow me to fill you in. The whole point of that one post was to make fun of people calling her racist for basically defending the stance of what happened to Inarius Konoe's when she was removed from playing Yorichi from Bleach, which, by the way, auditioned, got the role because she's just that good, and had nothing to do with her race. She was already recording voice lines, and when Wendy Lee, who was not asked to come back at the time, complained and then replaced her. So not only was this a slap in the face to her as a woman of color, but also as a professional voice actress. Shakira's point here is that they cast Yorichi perfectly, but felt like it was because Inarius is a woman of color, she had to take a back seat because she is a woman of color playing a woman of color, which Yorichi is and is something.
There is this narrative going around that maybe it's not based on merit, right? Because there's a legitimate case to be made there that in many cases, it's just a tactic to get prices down. Have people settle for less and argue with each other. So it's like, okay, so organize. Maybe ensure people have a better time in general. I don't know. But so the other point is, he doesn't actually substantiate that she was the best person for the job. There's a real concern there that people don't get hired even though they're qualified, most qualified. Maybe that's what happened here. But it's actually kind of besides the point, right? The question is, why does this happen?
Something that even Wendy...
Pro tip, it's not because people on Twitter complain. That's not why that is happening. That is one part of the chain of events, and one I would expect to take place, so
had admitted. However, due to the fact that a woman of color got cast to play a woman of color, the weird little freaks came out and harassed and said very racist things to Inarius, to which a lot of members within the industry comforted her about, except for Wendy Lee and the studio office.
Just saying you got to expect that.
Worried about her not playing Yorichi. And we need to stop pretending that casting people of color for roles in anime, whether a person of color or not, should never be met with an onslaught of racism. And that's not all.
What are you gonna do so it doesn't happen?
Holy shit! Astoundingly, what fell on Rev's deaf knife ears is the fact that the initial tweet Shakira made was a joke to make fun of racists calling her racist because authentic casting. And Rev will scream to the heavens that this is what VOs are reaping what they sow, but fails to follow up on what her true meaning is based on this following tweet. Which
I'll blame the platform for that, the design of the platform, which, you know, it's the same thing everywhere. What do you mean? Like,
puts her opinion in a much better
you know what trends, right? I mean, outrage, question mark?
Perspective. So no, they're not demanding anything, but they are asking that they don't get boxed in because of authentic casting. What is being said here is that it is preferable in voiceover to cast authentically, but not required.
But it's not preferable.
Context to a point of view that Rev and all of his little slimelets love to leave out in place of more Japanese, lack of irony, and
I mean, I'll grant it could, but that hasn't been substantiated at all.
Lies. And let's...
Okay, now he's throwing around big words like lies, okay. Well, I mean, it would be nice if he substantiated that this is such a good idea to preferentially cast people of color to voice characters of color in anime or whatever.
Stop for a moment and break down the argument of casting based off of race. That doesn't just happen. Inarius doesn't just get the role because she is a woman of color.
I mean, that's a fair point.
Sure, it may help a bit, but...
I mean, that's a fair point, but then you open yourself up to the criticism that it's maybe not the best choice because it helped a bit to get a worse choice, you know? I just want this guy to present his case well, and he's doing some good stuff and some I have to wonder my stuff, and the same could be said for Rev at times. It's like, okay, and probably for me too.
They casted her because she is talented. She's good at her job. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have...
By the way, he cannot just repeat this. He said this before. Don't fall for the repetition legitimizing strategy.
Have the role she has. So if she was casted on her talent, what's the problem? Well, it's because she's a talented actress that is a woman of color playing characters with the slightest bit of melanin in their design.
How do you know it?
And for the weird little freaks,
how do you know
that's apparently a bad thing.
You just gotta like actually make your point first before saying that that's what happened, though.
Because she did her fucking job. Oh no, you special little...
Like, I'm saying though, I say he has to do that. I also say that's gonna take you 2 hours, 2 hour video at the end, and it's gonna take like dozens of hours to make that video. So If you want to make that point, you gotta put in the work and make a video nobody's gonna watch, because the point is somewhere else. There are real concerns and there are expected overreactions to the real concerns. So this is an unfortunate situation. It's not like conducive to helping people of color to have this argument fully fleshed out. It's just a bad look when he's like, oh, we have this, it's all figured out. It's all figured out. And nobody made a video on it, so don't worry about it. It's just a bad look. Be a bit more careful. And I think I do sympathize with his perspective, right? It's like, yeah, maybe it sucks. She lost the role, even though she's the best person on the job. Like, but you can't just grant that.
Snowflakes. You don't have to outright say something racist to be racist. You can, in fact, target a woman of color whose opinion does not match yours.
And by the way, I don't doubt that there was some subconscious racism-based harassment going on there. Yeah, it sucks.
Say that they are wrong and bad and purposely.
But representation won't fix that.
Lie and slander about what they say and take them completely out of context, harass them, and then send entire
Also, public shaming people also doesn't fix that.
Mobs of hate and harass them while your entire argument is never about.
Maybe changing the algorithm on the platform would help, because if it's not like this or that race-based hatred, it's gonna be some other petty little conflict. As long as outrage trends, this is what you get.
Asking someone for their race, but their skill. But they're skilled enough to get the part anyways, so there can only be one logic left in that empty barrel of shitty opinions. It's never been
I mean, it's kind of cute how he's like, oh, these people are racist. Oh, they're racist. Oh, racist. Like, come on, that doesn't help.
About their skill. It's about their race.
And then he said it. Now he said it's like, he keeps piling on, hinting at. Oh, yeah, they're racist. They're racist. That's what's going on here. It's repetition. In music theory, repetition legitimates, and also in other contexts, repetition. You get the false impression that it's true, but he hasn't made the point yet, so I'm still waiting.
And what else can someone conclude than it being racism? You don't have to say the end.
I mean, I made a couple of good arguments for what else could be going on. Wage suppression, actually getting a worse product. What's the process for actually verifying that it's a good product? And yeah, of course, the overreaction, there's a racist element to it. But that's not the point. There's an overreaction. Yeah, it sucks. But like everything gets an overreaction when there's smoke and the fire to go with it. Again, maybe the platform dynamic is part of it. I wouldn't even want to make it so much about the platforms letting outraging content trend. It really isn't like that interesting to me.
And word aggressively to a black person.
For one, you could have other ways for reasonable debates to take place. There's other ways to progress important civil rights agendas, unlike being on the internet. Although, I could see some benefit some more benefit to get out of platforms if we make the outrage content less trendy and some other reptile brain targeting content less trendy.
To make it aware that you hate black people, you just have to be aggressive enough to a person of color and not with anyone else. It's just aside from the blatant misogyny that's just another problem altogether.
Throwing around some words here, interesting. I just thought the topic was about the industry we care about and finding solutions to systemic problems instead of throwing a lot of words at people, which, by the way, may be true to some extent. I just, if you want to have a 2-hour-long video about the significance of this particular aspect, as opposed to the more obvious things like, oh yeah, workers get a raw deal unless they combine in a union or something. And by the way, as a customer, you may always talk out of two sides of your mouth. Yeah, the representation, I love it. At the other side, you want to not pay. I mean, come on.
Together, but I will say this, Rev. Jamie Marici is never going to stop working in the industry. Make one video and be over it, you 10-ply, soft, smooth-brained bitch. The horse is dead, you weird little freak. So,
why is he so crude? I don't know.
After that clusterfuck of misreading, Rev's video kind of peters out. The last half of it is incoherent to the greater point that he was making. He just rambles on about race and anime, two things he is woefully unqualified to talk about.
After everything you've said, as I said in one of my previous videos, people don't really care about hypocrisy. Just make a good video. And yeah, maybe you're a hypocrite, and maybe you do care to yourself. I care for myself to not be a hypocrite. I will hear people out, but nobody else will care. As long as the person delivers the video people want to see, and they're going to keep producing, the people are going to keep watching, what are you going to do? Change the platform? Yeah, maybe that's a better idea than crying about it on the internet. Like, this is not effective, right? So that the problem isn't the hypocrisy, it's that he's just blatantly unaware of what he's aiming at to achieve? Like, how do you, like, it's so off target, you don't even know what he's aiming at anymore.
He must really needed that second ad roll.
We've got to have money.
But I guess there's a Toho figure who hasn't shoved up his ass yet. There's really nothing to respond to here. Not even anything particularly objectionable. He just talks and talks as if he didn't just send 117,000 people the info of a voice actor who did everything but say, here's our Emmanuel Goldstein, and this is our 2-minute hate. That was
I wonder, is this going to continue for another 15 minutes? Because the foundation of his argument, just, he hasn't built it yet, so I'm not really sure what to do here. I'll probably just watch the rest, and if there's something to comment on, I'll do that, but it's I just hope it doesn't get more repetitive without the basis.
1984 reference, by the way. It turns out that there is a lot more to that book than political correctness going.
It's funny that right at this point, he was complaining about Rev rambling on or whatever for a while, and it's like, we are halfway into the video. I really wonder what's gonna happen here, because he didn't build the foundations for his arguments. Is he just gonna keep grinding on this point now that he didn't make?
Wrong. Oh, hey, also a friend of yours was attacked. It's no one was really hurt by it, right?
Let me speed this up a little.
Bad video. Surely you can lay off Rev and give him some grace and empathy, right? I wish that was the world we lived in, folks. It's an ideal world where me and Rev can go meet at a local cafe and trust each other man to man and hash out our difference in opinion. But that's not the world we inhabit. Rev Says Desu is not some bumbling idiot that has bad takes on YouTube. There are hundreds of those. For example, this guy, Rev Says Desu.
Oh, I like how he's like pointing at himself. So nice self-awareness. But then you still end up walking away from this video, potentially falling for his empty repetition of things that haven't been substantiated in any satisfactory manner.
YouTube equivalent of a shock.
And you might actually believe what he's saying. It's like, dude, what?
Jockey who not only gets the attention but money from inciting people to behave like their worst selves. Back in the day, a troll could just say something.
He may be called Rev, he may be called somebody else, it may be about racism, it may be about something else. This person will always exist. So what's your answer, mister?
On a stupid forum and safely be ignored because the only thing we lose is a bit of our time and our brain cells from reading them. Rev, however, makes 3 to 4 videos a day, including live streams, just full of the most mind-numbingly dog shit trite. And he is rewarded on Twitter and YouTube and every platform he engages with because he gets clicks and views by being a troll. It used to be that trolling was a art. Now it is a business, and one that deals in the worst kind of propaganda. And Rev is not the only one, or even the biggest, or...
How is that the worst kind of propaganda? Maybe what this person who makes this video, Yaro Shien, maybe this concern trolling. Maybe that's the worst kind of trolling. I don't know. Has no direction, has weak arguments. Again, I'm not saying you should do the 20-hour work to make a 2-hour video on making the arguments stronger.
Worst one. Just in the anime sphere, Hirohei has over 500,000 subs. Flash has 435,000. I would like to think that these followings are because of the algorithm and not their insight, but then I scroll through the comments and see how much they feed off of each other. Channels like Rev Says Desu create a content.
I mean, the algorithm gives people stuff that they will react to in expected ways, right? I mean...
And not only does it lead to targeted mass harassment, but also robs our humanity of our collective sanity.
I mean, echo chambers exist in academia too. They're everywhere. Like, come on. You want to keep the people separated so they don't see that everything has some aspect of rent collection. Everything's not just like, oh, we're doing the work of God here. We're like doctors. No, sometimes you get operations you didn't really need. And I speak from experience.
It would be wonderful if the anime sphere had people discuss.
And by the way, the doctors didn't know either. It's like they did a good job, and I'm thankful for it. But in hindsight, we have structures that make it so you don't get to know what other things are on the table.
Problems in the industry in a nuanced and even-handed way. But instead, current discourse is run by trolls who have pissed in our collective Cheerios. And quite frankly, I'm sick of having the smell of urine and shit whenever I open my mouth about the conversation about anime translations. Had that been the only...
If there's no competition, then you can feign this air of objectivity. But the moment you're saying things that are actually debatable, of course, everyone's gonna want to use the methods that are functional to deploy your ideas. Like, if we all agreed on everything, then we could have this world that is so sterile that it's also kind of boring in its own right. But I understand you don't want all this outrage all the time for really whatever topics. True. But so you gotta maybe not make such a attempted hit piece or whatever this is, and instead be like, hey people, how about you look out for your own good, organize, form a union, etc., etc. Anyway, lots of ideas. This is just one of many, but being outraged over Rev Says Desu existing, that's not it. Like, how is that gonna solve the problem you have right now with Rev Says Desu? I don't think it's going to do a whole lot. Even if you win this battle, it's not going to make the next battle easier.
Issue at hand, this would be a much shorter video. But I'm not even done. Aside from the flagrant abuse of the algorithm and the harassment of both professionals...
Abuse of the algorithm? Come on, it's made for that.
...and independent voiceover, and thus made it an effort to get the video taken down because of the damage it was doing to people who it did not deserve to be damaged.
I feel like, you know, he's reaching out now to other stuff, but like we still have this gaping hole in terms of the argument. The original argument feels kind of bad. So,
damaged by, aka slander, and thus...
Like, I'm not really here to hear this guy pile on more and more supposed things. What are we doing here?
Rev came out with his own video response. He doesn't know the first thing about localizations because he doesn't speak nor...
There's some nice katakana. By the way, I did read Umineko episode 8 in Japanese, so it was pain, but it was worth it. But anyway.
Understand Japanese. He doesn't know the first thing about the business side of localization. He doesn't know how casting works, how ADR works, how directing works, how audio engineering works, barely conceptualizes editing, and doesn't know the first fucking thing about script writing for the industry at all. Yes, anyone can tell a bad double mile away, but there are...
I'm not really sure what the point is, by the way. And by the way, again, for me, I'm just saying everyone's a middleman. Like, okay, all these people producing the stuff, I mean... We could probably do 10 times more work with AI in the workflow. We would still need experts, but you could use like 1/10 the experts with the AI in the picture. So I'm not saying everyone's gonna be like making their own stuff. No, that doesn't work. AI isn't that good. If you wanna get paid, go be an advocate of yourself, for yourself. You know, I respect that. I at the very least want to inform you that this is the way to do it because I don't wanna pay you. But hey, if you wanna make me, I mean, fair enough. I can live with that.
Target. And when the weird little freaks get sent to the Shadow Realm, they act like it's a victory instead of the reality of that target of that campaign removing garbage from their house. It's not a victory to be blocked. It's just that you're one less problem to them. And we'll move on. Even so, we come back to the idea of why...
That's an interesting take. So the idea is, okay, there's this hate mob. We expect it's coming. It doesn't actually matter. So why you make this video? Where are the solutions? I tried to lay out some solutions here. And so, like, what's the point here? Is he just having fun calling people like little freaks? Is this the thing? Like, should I call him a big freak? Even though I sympathize with his, like, one of his points he was trying to make, which is this is all kind of useless rage porn.
Should they even capitulate to begin with? Why should they be nice or behave in a way that is only approvable to the attacker? You spent so much time acting like an ass to them. What in your right fucking mind makes you believe that you deserve respect? Because they just want an emotional punching bag.
Tribal warfare sucks. So I'm actually very serious about the idea that we should all respect each other, at least as human beings. You know what I mean? So I don't know what he means.
They can't provide any actual solutions because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They pretend to act like the best way to do things is to never let anyone but dudes who don't have any political opinions run every project. They fail to...
Whoa. Whoa. I'll just say, I do sometimes watch a DJ who a girl... in darn good DJ, I'll just say that much. So, and they're a girl. Like, what is this dude shaming? What is this? Like, it's okay to be a dude. Hello?
Realize one of the biggest contributors to localizations in the industry is Maimi Okada, who is the director of operations and casting director at Bang Zoom Entertainment, with over a decade of experience in the voiceover industry, having overseen hundreds of projects, and she is also Japanese. You know, someone who's more qualified than Rev, who has done and is none of that.
That's a racist take, by the way.
Or David Morici, who has over 2 decades of voiceover experience, over a decade of directing and script writing in the voiceover industry, and has overseen 100 projects, whom, again, someone who is more overly qualified than Rev and his whiny little freaks.
Or maybe she's living in a silo. Like, there's this thing, the trade-off between being a generalist and being a specialist. And as the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none, but sometimes better than a master of one. You see how it goes? Being an industry veteran. That's a good thing to be an industry veteran, but that just means you're an industry veteran. Doesn't mean that random person on the internet doesn't know something that you don't.
In all reality, they don't provide anything of substance. And they know, above all else, that the only way to have returning customers is to get them hooked on a drug of misplaced self-righteousness. Or stop going back and finding things that they may actually like and realize that the way that they were looking at things are all wrong. It's cult behavior. As soon as people realize that they...
It's interesting to hear this from somebody who just hasn't substantiated much of anything, hasn't provided solutions, clapped himself on the back in terms of, oh, we are already winning. We're winning. It's okay. Everyone is okay. We are the winners. They are the losers. Don't worry about it. Everything's great. Nothing's on fire. Nothing's on fire. Think about it.
They are wasting their time and life living day to day being shitty, that they will start to realize that may not be...
If you want to say that, like, you know, I like saying that too. Like, people, get ahead. Don't waste your life with this. Yes, but where's the respect?
It's getting worse because of corporate consolidation, anti-union behaviors, a lack of proper equity in pay, and those who make these companies, they're hundreds of millions while only paying actors, writers, editors, and directors thousands in a city where rent prices are in the same thousands.
I like that he brings that up.
A poorly delivered joke or made
It's a good thing he brings that up. Why are we shaming people for 26 minutes? I'm not sure I want to be in this cult of, okay, clap for yourself. There's these bad guys, but don't worry about them. And now we talk about the big boy stuff. No, these are also people who also have jobs and lives. And, you know, these are the people you want to have a union with, you know. So
just ignoring the problem won't make the harassment campaigns go away. What I propose then is just accountability. Whenever we have a platform such as Revs that is big enough to ferment hatred and harassment, call him out. When he tries to fall back on the idea that he's just a YouTuber and not a journalist or an opinion maker, remind him that all he does is express opinion.
Maybe not a very good one, but there are stakes here. This is a real person who has a real take.
However poorly conceived they are. If he wants to be taken seriously by non-idiots, he needs to become better. And character growth is always welcome and sought after thing, isn't it? Lastly, we need to stop pretending that we know the localization industry, let alone...
If he has character growth, somebody else is going to do what he's doing, right? If he's so bad in the first place, right? Even if we grant that, the problem doesn't go away like that, so...
Funnily enough, the industry is about change. Something of the
maybe you should get over it, just a side note.
See, the changes are not that egregious, and maybe if you look at it from a view where we aren't always trying to do a gotcha on localizers who are already not going to interact with the terminally online chuds, because based on how a lot of you behave, seems like you're the ones offended, my good bitch.
I think that's the point Rev was always having, that he is offended. Which is actually completely fair.
Honestly, we should do an entire...
Again, I'm not saying it actually helps much of anyone, but hey, it gives this guy a platform to react to, it gives me a platform to react to, I can say my piece, I'm thankful for that. So, I'm also thankful to this guy. And again, I just feel kind of sad for, like, what he wants and what he's doing being so at odds.
See you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Hello, it's me, your friend.
Oh, he's back.
Aaron. This is a really tiring video.
He's
and
back.
The fact that I had to put on a suit in order to do it is really kind of silly.
Yeah.
But you obviously get what's going on.
I just put on my cat girl outfit, yes.
Here. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're Rev, be better. If you're Rev's fans, I don't care. And to the people who are just watching this to kind of see what I'm up to, stick around. There's more things like this coming soon.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. Sounds good.
Don't forget to check out my Patreon and...
Although, I mean, I don't actually want to watch more for Trainwreck. I would actually be so happy that this guy's gonna like start making totally different videos that's totally on point in a way that meets what I explained and described, the standards of that. And so it would be like, great, I would never have to react to this guy again, but I think he's gonna be fine reacting to other people, and I can be fine reacting to probably similar people to that he's reacting to, right? So
I play D&D with people. I have another video coming out relatively soon, and also more bridging projects in the future. Yeah. Bye.
Nice. Yeah, I liked it kinda. I mean, you know, at the midway point, I was like, is this gonna be repetition now? But then he actually started to try to build an argument on top of his erroneous foundations. So it was at least fun, right? Like, so you stay being roped into the video in a way. It was a well-crafted product. If you disagree with the first half of the video, you're still staying around and at least entertain his stuff as a hypothetical. I'll link the video below in the description. Maybe leave a like for this guy. Leave a comment over here. Like the video. Slam the bell. Tell your friends about the video. And with that said, I hope you have a good one. Stay safe out there. The cat only wants the best for you. Meow.